Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. He is the general manager of the Utah Mammoth right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming off a big win in Game 1 of a 3-game road trip. Seattle coming up on Thursday. But, Bill, congratulations. That was a big one for your guys.
Oh, huge one. Absolutely huge. So we came to play. It was, probably a great response for us. We had a tough one at home against Washington, and, we came firing when all Pistons in L.A. It was a great response by the guys, and it's good to see it this time of year.
Bill, I want to take you back to before last season. We were standing in a scrum, and I was there, and this is a phrase you've been probably brought up to you time and time again. You talked about some nights this team's going to look like they could win the Stanley Cup. Other nights you're going to be wondering what they're doing. You're just wondering what they're doing out there. We've seen some moments of that this season. Do you feel like the Mammoth are ready to kind of graduate from that in a way?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think we're getting to a better consistency in our play. It's a team that's, every time we take our team's a pretty good learner. If they make a mistake and, they don't play well because of something we didn't shoot the puck enough, or, hey, we weren't good at this on the forecheck. Our team's pretty good and pretty resilient about going back and fixing it. So I like where we're at in the sense of there's a better consistency from the club. We've played some pretty good home games, haven't got the win, struggled in some areas, but I like our team. They're battling, and we're right in the thick of things. We're playing, pretty hard every single night in trying to get into the playoffs. So it's right where we want to be, and I like our effort and our I think our consistency's improved since last season.
I don't want to take you back to a bad memory here, but just an appreciation for what Mammoth fans may have seen the other night. At his age, Ovechkin getting a hat trick and playing in this level of the NHL with this level of physicality, just how impressive is that? And again, I'm talking more in a general sense, not an indictment on your guys at all.
Well, it's a painful process because when you talk about that, the memories that come up. But listen, everybody loves Ovi in the league. He's a pure-blooded goal scorer. From the time he came to the league to the time he's going to leave, he's been unreal. And he's got the ability, even at his age, he can shoot it off one leg harder than most guys can shoot it, off too. So he's a phenomenon, and he's someone that everybody likes to see, have success. Unfortunately, it was against us that night. But, he's been a great ambassador for hockey, and you could see that when he shows up at the game. And, there's a ton of Ovi jerseys in the stands. People still follow him. And, he's one of those guys. You see him score. It's the best in the business at doing that. So, it's a pleasure to watch. I just wish he wouldn't have done it against us.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Bill, obviously the team's going to be at Seattle's their next game on Thursday. 6 of their last 8, they've won on the road. You already referenced the fact that there have been some struggles at home. What makes this team so effective on the road? Because traditionally, obviously, home ice is where you're supposed to take advantage of opportunities. But winning 75% of your road games recently is a very positive trend for the squad.
Yeah, it is a positive. We're very calm at home, I should say, on the road, and I think sometimes we want to please our fans with big hits or too fancy of plays. You know, when we play on the road, we seem to just play a calmer game and take what's given to us. So, you know, it's an improvement for us to be a little bit, you know, calmer at home and just kind of play our game and just don't try and do too much. And sometimes, you know, I think our players care so much about Utah and they like it there. They almost do too much, you know, and when you see us play on the road, it's a simple game. Put pucks and people at the net, crash the net, find opportunities to score around the net. And I love our game on the road. And, you know, we came out against LA and just, you know, put it on them. We didn't let them breathe. That's when we're at our best, is that when we're on teams. And I felt like, you know, in our D zone, we'd kind of taken a step back probably in the last 10 games and given other teams space to make plays. And I just felt like we pressured the puck so hard in LA. We had good jump and good energy, and we never let them get to get them established in our zone. We put pressure the whole time. And like I said, it was a great response, but I do believe our next 2 road games are the biggest games of the year. So hopefully we can continue that trend.
You were up 3-1 against Washington, and then, you know, obviously we know how that game ended up, but then you're up 3-1 against the Kings. And I got to imagine the memories of 3-1 just a couple nights prior were probably resonating through everybody's head, and to see them say, all right, no, we're going to shut the door on this thing, and it's 5-1 before too long. I think it goes to show about the maturity of your team and learning and saying, okay, you know what, we just gave up one. We're not going to let that happen in back-to-back games.
Well, like I said, you know, there's some learning that you do during the course of the year that's pretty painful. And one of the things that has happened to us at home is we're getting leads and we're stopped playing, you know, and we got to play through the outcome and just continue to play. If you play hard and you play the right way, you make a mistake, so be it. We'll live with that all day long. But at the end of the day, we got to play, and you got to play to the outcome and through the outcome instead of just standing around waiting for the outcome. And I think that's been a little bit of our fault at home. And I thought, you know, when our team, you know, took the ice against LA, they were ready to play and make plays and live with the consequences. You know, and that's a little bit about being young and being nervous at this time of the year. And, you know, we were in the rebuild a few years ago, and we used to wax teams at this time of the year because they'd come in and be so tight, you know, and our players have to learn. And I think they've made that adjustment where, you know, it's even, you know, just being themselves on the ice, just joking around during practice and making sure you're having fun and you're loose and you're ready to go. You've done it all year. Don't tense up now when you get to these moments. And when you get a lead, whether it's the first minute of the game or the last minute of the game, you got to play the right way, do the right things. If you make a mistake, so be it. It'll happen. We'll deal with it. But it's really about playing in those moments.
Bill, is there a balance to be struck there, both having fun but also keeping the mindset of, hey, we're in a good spot. We don't want to let it slip here in the final 8 games of the regular season?
Yeah, there's definitely a mindset of when you have to be on, you know, for sure, and having that mindset to, you know, take care of business, and whether it's close it out and make a play. And, you know, sometimes they're ugly, like they're just getting to center and putting it, you know, deep in the last minute of the game or, you know, the last minute of the second period. But there's also moments where you need to score and you need to finish and you need to have focus. But there's a goodness of our club that, you know, they do that when they're loose. They do that when, you know, they're not over tense, you know, and they almost get paralyzed because of, hey, not wanting to make a mistake. And I think there's some goodness in our group when they're talking on the bench. They're loud. They're in the dressing room. They're into it. There's a goodness to that. So I think our guys are learning, you know, how to have fun in intense moments and how to be yourself. So it's a little bit of some growth that we're going through for sure.
When you've got some guys, now look, you've got guys on this roster that have made deep runs in the playoffs, guys that have won Stanley Cups, but as a team, how important is playoff experience for their development in knowing that level of physicality, what that's going to be like in preparation for taking that next step that you continue to talk about?
Well, I'll always take the talent over the experience. I always lean to the greatness of the talent. You know, sometimes you have to just kind of go through it, you know, and to get that experience. And, you know, playoff hockey is the best. our fans are going to rip the roof off the Delta Center. It'll be the greatest thing that ever hit. It's just an amazing experience. And I think as a player, those are tough games. There's 22 more hits per game. There's just an intensity that just goes to another notch. And, it's a great thing. But sometimes you just gotta get in there and find that experience through playing those big games or the big playoff games. It's been a good run for our group and going through that. Now we say when you can feel the pressure, you're in the right spot. So we're definitely in the right spot, and there's some goodness in our team and how they've played in those moments.
Bill, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, and let's catch up again here next week.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a great day.
You got it. There he is, the great Bill Armstrong, general manager of the Utah Mammoth, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, so big win against the Kings. Then you got Seattle coming up, and then Vancouver. The Vancouver game should be a W. I won't say that to Bill because Bill would reach through the microphone and strangle me.
I was going to say, you don't want to bring that up. And say, hey.
And then, but getting that first win and a convincing win over LA, I think really sets the table for a successful road trip. Where I was saying, and I think it was Jay Stevens and I were talking, if this team got four points
of the 6,
out of that available 6, that's a win. Well, right now, let's get greedy. Go get 6.
Well, and Seattle's fading right now. Seattle has been kind of sitting in a playoff position most of the season, but this last 2 to 3 weeks, they have really fallen off, and I think their playoff chances have dwindled. I think they're less than 10% now in terms of making the playoff field, and you do wonder how much that plays into their psyche. Now, you are playing on their home ice up at the Climate Pledge Arena up there in Seattle, and you can never take that for granted, Scotty. But, yeah, at this point, the mindset for the Mammoths should be, okay, we got 2 of the possible 6. We got 2 games here. You mentioned Vancouver. Yeah, you should be able to carve out 2 points there. Get greedy. Go collect all 6. And if you pull all 6 points out of this, then you have, I think, 5 of the final 6 games are at home? You could be flying into the playoffs, hopefully with quite a bit of momentum if you can handle that.
Yeah, and it's so critical for this team to have that momentum going into the playoffs. And honestly, I don't expect the Mammoth. It would be great if they made a long run in the playoffs, but even if they get swept in 4 games in the first series, I think that experience is valuable. It's so important for them to get a taste of what it's like in the playoffs so that they can build on that. And, that's why I alluded that with Bill. Like, I don't know how long their playoff run is going to be, but
sure.
I think the lessons you learn from it, I remember, I don't know how many iterations of Jazz eras it was, but it was just like, hey, this team needs to see what it's like in the playoffs to feel that intensity and feel like, oh, okay, that was a call in the regular season. I'm not getting that call now.
Yeah.
And just trying to learn what that experience is like. And that'll be great for this team.
Well,
and plus, honestly, how cool is it going to be downtown?
Well, that's the thing. You and I, we've been around this market for years. When there's playoffs going on, it's obviously been the Jazz for most of our time here, but now you have the Mammoth. Having playoff atmospheres in and around the Delta Center in downtown Salt Lake City, there's nothing like it. The weather's starting to really get good. Fans are showing up. It's the business end of the season, as my good friend Spencer Warren, who I do RSL broadcast, likes to talk about. And there's nothing like it, Scotty. I look forward. I'm projecting ahead to next year. I'm expecting the Utah Jazz to be in the playoffs along with the Mammoth, and having both of them do that. But to have the Mammoth in it this year, to get that taste of it, whether it's 1, 2 series, whatever it ends up being, you take advantage of it. And looking at things right now, Scotty, the Ducks, speaking of Anaheim, they're leading the Pacific Division, and with the Mammoth in that wild card spot, that's the projection that they would play in the first-round series. I don't mind that matchup at all for Utah. Anaheim's coming on strong down the stretch here, obviously leading the Pacific Division, but that's a division that has been it's been the weakest division overall in the NHL this year, and it could be ripe for the picking for Utah if they carry that momentum, as we've talked about, into this playoff run.
And not to go glass half full for you, but maybe you talked about the struggles they've had at home. Maybe that plays in their favor, being not having home ice advantage against in the playoffs. Maybe that helps. It helps the Mammoth.
When have you ever been glass half full guy?
Hey, I'm changing. Times are a-changing, Scotty G. I'm looking at it like, hey, maybe being on the road actually will be good for them because they have been so good on the road. How about that?
I like this new you. I'm down for it.
Turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, how about that? No, honestly, I cannot wait to experience playoff hockey here in the state of Utah.
Yep.
And the fact that this team continues to make their steps, and because honestly, the way that Bill Armstrong has talked about the rebuild process, it made it seem like it was just a matter of when, not if. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of ifs. And, you look at Vancouver, they've been stuck in a rebuild for 10 years.
And they just tore it down again.
Yeah. And so, like the way Bill talks, and there's such a confidence in the way that he approaches things, like, okay, we're going to be at this level here, we're going to be at this level here, and we're going to be at this level here. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, that's just what every team does. Okay, they tear it down, and then they go here, 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 and then by year 5, they're in a NHL Stanley Cup. That's not how it always goes, but yet they're staying true to his schedule.
Well, and you're seeing a lot of teams. Obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights just fired Bruce Cassidy with 8 games to go in the season.
How about that?
The Toronto Maple Leafs, I think it was Maple Leafs. No, it was who fired their GM just earlier today or yesterday?
It was Toronto.
Toronto is the Maple Leafs, yeah. So there's some. These seem like these are reactionary moves, Scotty, because they're obviously feeling the pressure and everything, and they're trying to do something to boost their chances. That's the fun part about what the Mammoth build here. It feels like it's sustainable. A lot of young talent that is still very, very young, just in terms of experience in the NHL in general. A lot of them haven't experienced the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, and that should lend, I think, all of us that are watching this team kind of grow up in real time, thinking, all right, yeah, this is a process they're going through. Playoffs this year, you win a series, that's awesome. You take it, and obviously, but you're building towards something. And the thought is, I think you're not far off, Scotty. Next 5 years, they should be in the mix to hoist the cup.
Woo!
Just think about it, the talent they've got. You look at the youth on this roster. They have not really hit what you consider to be their prime yet, and they're already producing at a pretty prodigious rate.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part about this, is that core that they've locked up, by the way, long term with all these deals that they have announced, they're going to be together for quite some time, and based on projections of where they could go, and oh, by the way, there's this little thing called Tija Ginla out there that is in the minors right now. There is a lot to look forward to when it comes to being a Mammoth fan.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to be fired up about, especially when you consider exactly what you're talking about. The fact that this team, now this is what's going to resonate with fans here in the state of Utah, because when it comes to professional sports, all they know are the Jazz, and all they know is, okay, players come here, they develop, and then they want out or they leave. But to have Weeks essentially waive his no trade clause so he can come to Utah, to have your superstars on this team sign long-term contracts and are going to be part of the team long-term, to embrace the community. It's going to be a long process, but the more the NBA stays with some of their shenanigans, it's not going to be overnight. It won't be soon, but I could see there being a day where people are like, you know what? I'm an NHL person now.
Well, I can tell you that the next generation has that opportunity.
Yes, that's a great point.
I've got a son who is 7 years old, and I'm not going to lie to you, Scotty. If the Jazz and the Mammoth are on at the same time, you know what he's preferring to watch right now? It's the Mammoth.
The Mammoth.
He wants to play hockey. He's paying attention more. I'm telling you, this could grab a stranglehold of that next generation if given the opportunity, and that does take, obviously, success. You got to go out there in the playoffs and make an imprint, but they're on their way to the playoffs this year, and I don't care if, I mentioned it's maybe a 4-game sweep. The playoff experience in and of itself is worth it.
And by the way, props to the Mammoth and the organization for the outreach program and making sure that hockey's available, because I think basketball really took root here in the state of Utah when, you could crack a window open at the old Ward House and then swing by on a Tuesday night and sneak in and play basketball all night.
I played pickup hoops my entire life. Right down my church building I grew up was literally a 5-minute walk from my house. We played there all of the time.
Yeah, and you weren't necessarily supposed to be there, but or somebody's mom had keys and you were able to snag them and get down there. But that's the thing. That's why I think basketball really took root, because everybody had access to it. the more that hockey is available for it to take root.
Yeah. Well, and that's a credit to the Smith Entertainment Group and what they've obviously offered in terms of ice time and obviously offering to build more ice sheets around the state.
And not just ice, by the way. My boys they just did street hockey.
Yeah,
they did street hockey on Friday. Last Friday, they were in this little street hockey clinic, and it's just a little thing to give them a taste of, maybe not on the ice yet, but it's a little thing to get you headed in that direction.
Let's just put it this way. My son has got like a street hockey ball. It's got the Mammoth logo on it. He's got a stick now.
Yeah.
All he does in my basement all day long, Scotty, is fire shots at the wall.
Nice. Lloyd, I could see Xavier staying with baseball, but Jackie Blue Eyes.
He's my goon. Yeah, absolutely.
I could see him being the enforcer. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on Carvana. Delivery fees may apply.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You see what I deal with right here, Jake?
I love it.
You see what I'm dealing with?
You know who I deal with on a daily basis.
You heard the joy, right? You right, Hatch? You heard the joy.
Why are we playing Baby, Baby, Baby by Justin Bieber?
Because
do you know our audience is men really 35 to 54.
You know what? I know you've been listening to a lot of yacht rock lately. I'm going to do more of that.
I have been listening.
No,
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to make a point because I actually enjoy it myself. I don't mind it. I'm not into it right now.
Okay. No. Just because I've been listening to it doesn't mean we should be playing.
Why not?
Because our listeners will probably turn off the radio.
I don't think that's necessarily the case. No.
Yacht rock is in vogue right now, boys.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Well, I'm
just saying, I hear it all over the place. And I hear it from people, by the way, I would never expect to be fans of it, if that makes sense.
It's just a phase for me. It's just sometimes, when things get crazy and you just want to, just chill in your car, a little yacht rock, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not hating it. All right, let's give away some Jazz tickets. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE, and you'll win a pair of tickets. See the Jazz and the Spicy Nugs coming up tomorrow at Delta Center. If you can't get tickets right now, we'll just wait next hour. JJ and Alex give away another pair and another pair and then another pair. You know how it goes. Jazz Ticket Tuesday, not a lot of these left, folks, so make sure you get in on them while the getting's good. All right, I had a chance to chat with the new head coach of the Utah State Aggies. Boy, I tell you what, a really fun chat with Ben Jacobson. We talk about a lot of things. We even go down memory lane on the NCAA tournament. Here's that conversation. All right, Coach, welcome to Logan. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Scott. The excitement is it's real. It's a real thing. You can feel the energy around here, and so we feel great about our decision to be here, and can't wait to get started. See the guys this afternoon and get started.
What's this process like for you? I know that there's been a lot of teams that have made some overtures to you in the past, but what was this one like in terms of like, okay, that's where I want to sink my teeth into?
Yeah, it really the timing of it, and came down to timing on two fronts. What Utah State has done and the position we're in heading into the new Pac-12 and what that means and the vision that Cam and President Mortensen have for Utah State right now. Right? So everything that the basketball program has done, Coach Morrill, and we could go through the coaches, we could go through the players. I've known about that for a long time. So to have that line up timing-wise with what Don and I have going in our personal life with Hunter and Tanner. They're at 22 and 20 years old. Hunt just finished. He's going to finish his schoolwork. He's going to student teach in the fall. Tanner's a sophomore over at Nebraska. Very different than when they're 5 and 7, or when they're 13 and 15. Like whatever the years matched up. So all of a sudden, those two things just stacked up. Utah State and everything that's been going on here for a long time, and the excitement and energy going into the new Pac-12, and the people with Cam, his team, the president, the players that are on this team. It just hit when Don and I were in a place personally that it made sense to leave a place that we love.
I talked to an assistant coach at a P4 school, and he goes, I can't get a sniff at that job because of the amount of people that want it and where it's elevated. He goes, maybe 6-7 years ago I would have had a shot at it, but not now. There was a lot of competition for this job just simply because of where this program's been elevated to as of late.
Yeah, no question. I would imagine that that Cam was fielding calls from anybody and everybody with a coach that would certainly be interested in this job. And I that there's a couple pieces to that, Scott. One, the excitement that I touched on, but how proud I am to be our head coach, knowing what you just asked and what you just said. That fills me with a tremendous amount of pride. And I know with that comes a responsibility, right? And then the bar is high. Fortunately, we've been in this situation where the bar is high. I love that part of it. That part that gets me going. Every single day. So we're going to thrive in knowing where those expectations are. Right, we're not going to shy away from them. But I take a tremendous amount of pride in the faith that Cam is showing in me right now to be the guy. Out of everyone that had interest in this job.
There is a lot of times when you take over a program, you're taking over a program because the coach had been let go before, and so you've got to rebuild and you've got to build from the ground up. Here it's a different thing where you've got, okay, this is the expectation, bare minimum NCAA tournament. Now they've gotten a taste of round one victories. Now people are talking about Sweet 16s. What kind of a different mindset do you have as opposed to taking over a program what may be struggling and you're trying to build it from scratch?
Yeah, it's it's a great question. I've been in that situation as an assistant coach. When Greg McDermott got the job at Northern Iowa in 2001, we had to do the second part of what you just described. We had to get it going, right? And fortunately, we were able to in year 3. But since 2004, that would have been year 3 for Mac and for our staff at that time. The expectation has been we went to the NCAA tournament. We got beat in the first round, but immediately, all right, the expectation is that we get NCAA tournament. So I've been navigating that part of it since 2004 as an assistant, and then in 2010 when you break through and you get to the Sweet 16, everything we talked about, everything I've talked about as a head coach is, and I talked about it in the press conference today, like there's another weekend, and there's another weekend. So we've been operating that way, right? With whether it be our fans, our closest supporters, our community, our campus, when we were recruiting players, it's everything we've been talking about. Everything I've been talking about for 15 years now, since 2010. So that part really lines up, and I get excited about that. Hey, that the minimum of what's happened here recently and for a long time is the NCAA tournament, right? I'm excited about that. More excited about what's after that. Okay, can we knock down that next door?
Speaking of the Sweet 16, I don't know if you faced off as head coaches, but how crazy is it going to be as a conference opponent looking over and seeing Allie there at Colorado State?
Yeah, that's going to be different, man. Really proud of him. The opportunity to be together when he was playing, and we had 2 magical years. and I don't use that term lightly. We won all 4 titles, regular season and conference tournament, in the NCAA tournament both times, and obviously winning 2 games when he's a senior, and playing in the Sweet 16. So, our relationship and our bond, if you will, but our relationship is, built on 2 big-time years of basketball. It, as I told everybody today and told the guys, our relationship has nothing to do with hoops, but when you're doing that for 2 years, right? So I was now able to go down and be at his press conference last year, and excited to be there, and just really proud of him. Now we're going to have to play against each other twice.
Yeah.
And we're going to probably recruit, a couple of the same guys and go head to head. That's going to be okay. Right? It's not as much fun. When Mac was the head coach at Iowa State, and I was our coach at Northern Iowa, we played we played against each other, and it's different, and it's not as much fun as all the other games. But the competitive part of it doesn't change.
Yeah.
I got a job to do at Utah State, and Ali's got a job to do at Colorado State, but our relationship will not, it will not change.
All right, just as a NCAA tournament and basketball nerd, I've got to ask.
Yeah.
Did he have the green light to take that shot?
Absolutely.
Everybody across the country saw that. It's like, no, yes. Yeah.
I'm curious what you thought when he let it go.
Oh, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You got to pull that out. Take the foul.
Yeah. So the reason, the reason I can immediately say yes, the way that unfolded, when the ball got thrown up, when Kajot threw the ball up the sideline to Ali, there was one Kansas defender that was back. We had another player on the left side of the floor that was coming into the picture. And when that defender, because he was starting to move toward Ali as he caught it, but he felt our other player that was coming down the opposite side of the floor, and he started to back up a little bit because he felt that guy. As soon as he paused and started to back up, I thought, well, this is going to be interesting, because I knew he was going to shoot it.
Yeah.
So my only thought was, okay, this is going to be interesting, and right, it's all happening in live action.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, and it didn't surprise his teammates, it didn't surprise the coaches, it didn't surprise. It may have surprised some of our fans, right? They're not at every practice, and they're not in all, but us as coaches and his teammates were not surprised.
So I know a coach in the Missouri Valley really well. He was an assistant here with Craig Smith, David Ragland.
Yeah.
And so I texted David, and I'm like, hey, what do you think of Ben? What are your thoughts? And I'm just going to read this verbatim, and you tell me what part of this you like the most. He's great. Love him. He's a great coach, down-to-earth person, incredible human being, but his teams will kick the hell out of you. I'll preface that a little bit. He'll do great there at Utah State.
Well, I appreciate that, Rags. Very similar the way I feel about Rags. If I had to pick a part of that, it would be about being a good person. And I mentioned it in the press conference. Like not that I would want a choice, but I didn't have a choice. Mom and Dad weren't. It wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work a different way, and I'm really happy for that. For my brothers and our sister and myself, that that's the way it was going to be. You're going to treat people. You're going to treat people well. You're going to be good to people, and because that's what we should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't my mom and dad's idea. It's because that's what we should be doing. So that would be the part of what Rag said. That I like that last part.
Yeah.
I like the last part, but not as much as we're gonna do the best we can to treat each other well and care about each other.
So when you build a team together, and obviously retention's huge, there's a lot of coaches, and you and I are roughly the same age. There's a lot of coaches that have been in this for decades that may be getting out because they don't like where it's at. They don't like the evolution of where college sports is right now. As a guy that's been in this for as long as you have, has it been hard to adapt to, and how do you feel like you and your staff have adapted to this new landscape?
Yeah, it was hard initially, right? And like everyone else, we had a decision to make. Are we going to continue to recruit high school players? For us, that's been the backbone of our program, and it's going to be here at Utah State. Once we made that decision, right, and it'll be the same approach here. Things got kind of back to normal and got easier pretty quick. So our formula, guys, we're going to recruit the high school players out here, and they're going to know it. and that's where it's going to start. And then we have our season, right? And the most important people in the program are the players on our team, and we're going to work like crazy to help them feel good about coming back. Right? Retention, very important to me, and we've had success there. And then we'll use the portal when we need to. Right? But the first two, the recruiting high school players that understand what Utah State is about and want to be a part of it, and they're going to take a tremendous amount of pride in it. And then when the season's done, having real conversations, right? And retention, them understanding that them coming back is the most important thing. And then using that portal when we need to. And we've had, the portal's been very good to us. We haven't had very many guys go. Yeah. But we've had openings in the spring, and we attack it with the same formula that we're recruiting the high school players. Okay? We're not going out getting into bidding wars and this guy's wow, look, he averaged this, that. Like we're attacking it the same way. Okay, and good young guys and great families and going to care about each other. So we're attacking the portal the same way we attack the high school recruiting. So it's been good to us. We've added over the last 3 years some guys that have been great fits, and it's just been awesome.
There he is, the new head coach, Ben Jacobson, at Utah State University after 20 years at Northern Iowa. All right, take a final break. Wrap this thing up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.